Welcome to Fashionably Conscious. I am here today and we're going to discuss a few ways that you could incorporate more sustainable shopping habits and how you could become a more sustainable and ethical shopper when buying clothing. So this is something I'm really excited to talk about. I love sharing these tips and I hope that you guys will take them and start implementing some of them into your daily life, just because, as we mentioned, fast fashion is so bad for our planet. And even if you do one of these, it would make a huge difference in our environment, switching from a fast fashion item and implementing one of these options that I'm going to go over today. So I'm glad to share these with you. So let's get started. So probably the simplest thing you could do and easiest way to become a more sustainable shopper would be to shop secondhand. So going to your local thrift store, going to like a Goodwill, a Salvation Army, looking for clothing there. I know here in LA you could be really lucky. A lot of times you could find name brand items at the thrift stores, still in really great condition. And I personally think it's a great option just because you're not creating any new waste from fast fashion. You usually get higher quality, sometimes even designer items for a very low price. And you're not that those items would traditionally go into a landfill, and you're freeing up that space, taking this item home with you and bringing it new life. So that is a great option. There is some questionable practices that go into thrifting, just because we have so many clothes going into thrift stores, and a lot of times the thrift stores can't use all the clothing, so a lot of it ends up in not so good situations, which is something we'll talk about maybe in another video. But as a shopper, it is a great option. So secondly, and something else you could do is look for fair trade and ethical brands. And I know for some this may be expensive at times. So I know not everyone will be able to do this, just because I know sometimes these brands are a little bit pricier, but usually the quality is also better, which I think in the long term is good for everyone. Instead of buying that $10 t-shirt, why not spend a little bit more, buy a $50 t-shirt, and it's gonna last you a lot longer. So that's always an option. And some brands that I really like that are fair trade would be Patagonia, Reformation, Everlane is also great. I know as well H&M has a conscious collection where they use recycled materials that is also very affordable. So these are just a few ethical brands where you could shop at. I'm sure there's a million more. These are just some of my favorites. What you could do would be upcycle and DIY the clothing you currently have. And that could be something as simple as stitching up a rip that may be in the clothing, or maybe you have let's say like I've done this before, some vintage Levi's, and then you want to make that into a skirt, give it the item a new life and new feel. I know not everyone knows how to sew, but even something as simple as adding a button that may have fallen off, or just closing up a small hole that you would have otherwise just thrown the item away, makes a huge difference, and gives the item a lot more wear and time with you. Go ahead and do is look for either natural materials, recycled materials, eco-friendly fabrics. Natural materials are a bit questionable because yes, you could use cotton, but that also requires a lot of water. So I always recommend looking for like hemp. That's a great fabric that doesn't require a lot of water, bamboo, fabrics like that grow really quickly are great. Another thing that you could look for is recycled fabrics. So a lot of items now are being made with recycled polyester, which I think is a great option, just because, as we know, polyester in general is just plastic. So why not use the plastic we already have and give it a new life, create new items. And I know, for one, Adidas is cleaning up plastic from the ocean and making their sneakers out of this fabric, which I think is amazing. I think more companies should do that. Another thing that you could look for is luxury brands or higher quality items. And I know this is not, for everyone. Not everyone could go and shop luxury, but for the most part, these items will last you much longer than something you buy, at Forever 21 for a very cheap price. So a lot of times these items are not necessarily made in an ethical way, but they will last you a long time. For example, if you buy like a Gucci bag versus a $10, I don't know, $20 Target bag. That bag obviously is of higher quality leather, higher quality stitching, so it will last you maybe 10-15 years. And again, I know not everyone can afford this. But in general, shopping luxury is a higher quality item that will last you, years. And lastly, I want to go over one of my favorite options, and that would be clothing rentals. So clothing rentals, I'm personally most familiar with Rent the Runway, and I've actually used their services, and I really love this for special occasions, weddings. Maybe you need a graduation dress, maybe you're going to a formal event. And in the past, I would buy, a dress for sometimes, $75, $100, and I would only use that dress once. So now I try to do clothing rentals, and I love Rent the Runway because you could find, luxury pieces, very high quality items that I regularly wouldn't be able to afford. So yeah, on Rent the Runway you could find dresses as cheap as $30, and then the more luxury items will be a few $100s, but these are like items that would originally be upwards of $1,000. So I really like Rent the Runway for items that I know I'm gonna wear only once, and what my typical budget of $100 for an occasional piece, let's say a wedding, I would go out to the mall, buy a $100 dress, maybe at like Express or something, which is not the best quality. Why not rent something luxury, super nice fabric, beautiful piece? And so for the same price you would get a nicer piece, and you're only gonna wear this once, so why not just go with renting items? And that's something that I've really liked. I love their services. I've had really good experiences. I think it's a great option, especially when you just need that one piece and you're only gonna wear it. So thank you guys so much for listening. These are just a few things you could do to be a more ethical shopper. I hope you guys will implement some of these into your daily life. And there's a lot more options than just going to a fast fashion store, buying something cute and trendy online. There's a lot of things. Thanks so much for listening. Follow us on Fashionably Conscious and like and subscribe to this video. Have a good one. Bye.